I'm not Drew Breezy, but this is the Comm Center. On this episode, we're going to talk about the ultimate Karen. Can she dial 911 to save herself from a brutal session of incarceration? Only a veteran police officer, an authentic police officer, fresh off the beat for 30 years, and an actual 911 dispatcher can answer this question. Karen, you're out there, thinking about you. With all that said and what it means for your weekend on the Comm Center. Wake Up America, it's the Comm Center. It's a TV show on the internet about two best friends who skulk around at night in latex suits called Night Stalking, and they go around and they look at all the places in Tampa where Drew used to kill people as a policeman officer. I'm John. I'm an actual 911 dispatcher. We never killed anybody. Not me.
I was a policeman officer, as John says, and I was authentic.
He was an authentic cop. He's your podcasting partner with Police Benefits. We're a little bit out of sorts. We're doing a live show because I was down in Hillsborough County in Tampa this week. So Thursday has come. You know, I spent the entire day yesterday traveling, and Thursday's here. And Drew had an important meeting that he had to not miss today. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't contributed to this show in a long time. I've been really overworked. I've been overtired, but now I'm rested and relaxed and joyful, as I'm sure you can all tell. So I'm like, I wanted to bring a show, a case this week. And so I found one that I think is good. And actually, Drew's wife kind of suggested this one to me, not this case specifically, but she thinks that this kind of case is the kind of case that people want to see. And it's a case of an ultimate Karen. Now, way back in episode 3, we did kind of, people belligerent to police officers who have the audacity to show up to try to help another human being. This is another one of those. So we broke it down into 3 parts. We'll see if we'll do all 3. If we don't do the third one, it's just not going to happen, or we'll save it for the after show. I think that would be a good thing to do, but
sure.
So what's happening here is that a 911 call has been placed, and first responders, meaning paramedic units and police officers, are responding to a local watering hole of perhaps some notoriety. And for the first person who can identify the bar, you will win a prize in the form of either a digital bookmark, or I will send you a postcard, since I'm sending out postcards and all that kind of stuff today anyway. So just use your eagle eye. Put it, I don't care if you go back and forth, if you scrub through the video and you kind of Zapruder film it, but this is a bar that many of you will recognize, apparently. And Drew, this is going to be pretty free-flowing. I encourage you to just don the style of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Anytime you want to say anything, just pause it.
I promise.
Because it's going to be a good one.
Why I'm getting called?
Yes, I'm Lauren. Nice to meet you.
So you were the one that they were calling about?
I am. So there is a female laying on the bathroom floor right now.
Okay.
Right? Who is not coherent. And this entire bar is trying to accommodate that. It's fine. It's no big deal. She's not okay at all.
Okay. Well, let me go see what's going on in here.
Sure, go ahead.
These are the worst calls. I got to be honest. Like, you show up, everybody's sloshed, no one's making sense, and then the people that are sober should make sense of those who aren't making sense. But then they turn, maybe I'm foreshadowing a little bit.
All right.
Go ahead. Hi.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Good. What's up?
What can I do for you?
Well, we got called about somebody unconscious in the bathroom.
She's not unconscious. She's up. She's awake. She's up and she's awake. I'm taking her home. I know her personally. Don't worry. I will never let anything.
We still need to look at her.
Okay. Would you like to look at her?
Yes.
Okay. This is perfectly fine. Okay. You guys can look at her.
Thank you.
I'm taking her home. Yes. I'm just letting you see that she's up. She's okay. I'm taking her home.
Okay. Has anyone caught on yet? Has anyone recognized it yet? Just put it in the chat if you have.
The chick outside was a little dramatic. You're having some problems with her.
Where's our patient?
Nope.
Yeah. Men's bathroom?
She's not in the bathroom.
I'll give you a hint. I've been there.
She was just in there.
Watch, John, this is what I was trying to tell you about. Watch on your, I think it's the left side of your screen.
She was just in here. She was
Do you see it?
Seems faintly familiar. You're right. Yeah.
fine though. She was up and fine.
It's exactly what I expect.
Well, what's going on here?
How do we lose an unconscious
You
person?
got police here, fire department here. You guys have.
Well, the
This is
woman that
ridiculous.
called, I know, I'm so sorry.
This is ridiculous.
The woman that called, she was being a little dramatic, and I told her she was acting a fool. I told her she needed to leave, and she was like, no, there's a woman unconscious. I was like, no, she's having a hard time. She was puking. She called an Uber. I told her that's what was happening. And she was like, well, I'm going to call the police. I was like, okay, well, you can call the police, but she's got an Uber on the way. I don't know what else to do for you. And she was being very freaked out and very dramatic. She was causing a scene. She was causing a fight.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not illegal for her to be passed out in the bathroom. We're here to check on her own
Right,
on her well-being.
exactly. And
So
but
we have no idea where she's at.
The only thing I can assume is that she got in her Uber by the time that I went out there and talked to you guys, because she had called an Uber half an hour before.
I mean, it took me 30 seconds to get here.
Yeah, who is this person? You know her?
No, I did. I told her about.
All right, well, we're gonna do our due diligence to see if she's here, but.
I told the woman who had called.
This don't make any sense.
But I'm gonna make sure there's nobody laying around here somewhere or something. Yeah.
The door is locked. Yes, just so you know, the door is locked.
The way that this girl that's working here was acting
Yeah.
like she wasn't going to let us in.
Right.
It's like
that's what I walked up to her. I was like, well, you're gonna let us in.
something weird.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just sneak out a door if she's that drunk.
All right. We have no guesses about what this place is.
Nobody's guessed the name of the bar yet?
Nope. Should we just let it keep going?
It's because Foxy's not here. She would know.
Right. Should we just let it marinate? Because
I say let it marinate.
yeah, we'll let it marinate. Even the fire rescue guys have a huge clue on their back.
Got into the Uber when I left.
Well, this is what I'm trying to figure out. You said you were taking her home, but then now you're saying she was taking an Uber.
Well, I mean, I was going to take her home, and she had talked about calling an Uber.
So this hello, this girl that she called about.
She called. I was just a bystander. I was
Did you
literally
see
at
this
the
girl
bar.
passed out?
The blonde girl?
Well, I don't know who-
Sisters in orange?
I like that. He's a typical Packers fan, first of all.
That's why I had to
Well-
change our layout. Sorry to Dewey and everyone watching this as the layout changes 14 times, but I'm like, I put some pretty killer notations on this, and I don't want you guys to miss it. That added easily an extra 90 minutes to my workday today, so I want you guys to see it. Yeah, this guy, by the way, he is a treat. So enjoy.
Yeah, he is a treat. He is the relief for this call. To be honest, like if I'm on a call like this, I'm probably gonna hang out with this guy because he's the fun drunk. He's like listening to him is probably the fun part until it gets old. But then
Well, watch his face though too. I mean, not just what he says, but like if you guys are just listening, you're gonna miss a lot of Packers fan here. So just watch it. You're gonna love it.
he does identify himself as bystander. FYI.
All I know is that her sister's in orange is the sister, the older one. The younger one apparently she came out and said that she was throwing up in the bathrooms. That's all I heard.
Okay, so the girl that's passed out.
Yes.
Where is
You can't find her? No.
You can't find her? What? No.
She's
A
not
missing drunk girl?
drunk. She's not in my backpack, if that's what you're asking.
Okay,
No, I promise you, she was literally with her cousin.
okay. So who's her cousin or who's her sister?
Some blonde, other blonde.
Okay,
What's her name?
Hold on.
let's take this down. This is getting a little.
Lauren's boyfriend, a real masochist.
Here's the thing. Did you guys not notice yet that Lauren, person reporting, the person who opened up this video by shaking the hand of the officer we're watching, shook his hand, happy to team up with police. Now she's on the phone with someone, taking names and reporting it to the person on the other end of the phone. Yeah. Drew, if I'm not mistaken, she's already dialing 911 because she's not happy with the service. So she's calling. She's right. Her instincts are correct. That she knows that when she dials 911, she's going to be talking to the police's manager, which is me. You know, I'm in charge of them. I tell them what to do. I correct their behavior, obviously, but she's calling and reporting them. And this guy here, Laura's boyfriend, It's hard to know how he fits into this picture, right? We have a missing patient inside this bar. And is he someone who's helping, hurting? What role does he play? We'll just have to find out together.
No,
hit
this is
No.
getting a little
I
dramatic
want to
here.
know his name.
This is getting a little dramatic.
Walterman is sitting here. I don't give a if I know him or not. You know me, I know you. It's fine. He is sitting here. There's a girl passed out on the
There's
goddamn.
nobody in there.
There was. I just walked out of the goddamn bathroom with
Okay.
a passed out
Listen.
20-year-old
Okay.
girl on the f***ing bathroom floor.
Well, there's nobody in there.
Walterman.
All right, so the Packers fan takes up conversation with the
The boyfriend.
with
Yeah.
the boyfriend. Yeah, he looks like Scream basically. And then is that Micah walking in behind her?
Possibly, yeah.
I don't even remember this guy being part of the hockey fight that that this is. This is basically what a hockey fight is. I mean,
Yeah,
except
referee is,
except
if that's what you're
punches.
going for. The cop's definitely trying to referee what's happening.
So we'll continue, but I don't remember this guy stepping one.
Exactly. And they're going to cover it up. And you're a f***ing offer, sir. That's what this is.
So
What are you doing?
since
I promise you on
What are you doing, Kashi? What are you doing? So what?
so which
So
one
what?
is her
You're
cousin?
go to jail.
It's not my cousin. I ain't going to jail.
Which one?
There's
I will never go to jail.
so there's a taller one who's also
Kirk.
blonde with dirty
There
blonde
is
hair,
a-
right?
All right, so just imagine, John, help me identify. So the Packers fan is basically on a unicycle. The Scream guy, the boyfriend is what?
Guy in the hoodie.
Yeah, he's juggling.
He's
doing-
juggling. Yeah. What impresses me most about him is that he knows the longer I'm here, the more likely it is that I am going to jail too. Everyone here is going to jail. But do I want to be among them? Like he has to decide, when am I going to finally like cut bait on my girlfriend? And he
Yeah,
reaches
am I
that point
first?
during this video.
Am I going to be first? Is baby like, am I going to take a taser over this shit? And then she is pretty much how can we describe her? She's got like a one of those. She's just annoying everybody. She's just got one of those whistles, and she just keeps going and going and going. Oh, maybe even a trombone, and she's just like warming up to play, some Britney Spears song or something. But she's just like she's just making noise. One dude's riding a unicycle. The other dude is just like making his
And all three of them are gathered around the cop, each of them
Yeah.
pleading for attention of some different kind. The guy in the hoodie is like begging with his eyes, please let us go. The girl is like calling the cop all kinds of names for not investigating, even though 5 paramedics have gone into this bar looking for this woman. There was the owner of the bar saying, you don't have to worry about her. You can leave. There's nothing to see here. Let's not mention anything more about this bizarre cover up. She doesn't even want to let the cops inside. The cops are like, yeah, we're going to take a look anyway. What withdrew diligence at all. They go inside. They can't find her. She's disappeared like a fart in the wind. They come out here. They've walked all the way around. Maybe they haven't walked all the way around yet. But each of these guys is like jockeying for attention with the Packers guy up front, who's telling just a wonderful story that's going to give you another clue as to the identity of this well-known bar.
Yeah, and by the way, we don't know that the other woman exists. Like we can assume, because the bar owner or whatever was like, yeah, she's fine. I called her an Uber. She was throwing up, because that's the way we handle things here. And I've actually witnessed it firsthand. That pretty much tracks. Like, yeah, I'm not shocked that there was somebody asleep in the ladies' room.
Female.
The only
No,
the only
she is a 20-year-old
God,
girl
please
lady.
stop. The only,
Please stop what?
the only people that are in there are the employees right now.
They're not. They're
Jesus
doing
Christ.
bullshit.
We
I was just sitting there.
There was 5
walking there with me. They
listen.
walked out the back door.
Then they
walked
did.
out the back door.
Then they did.
There is a 20-year-old girl
Okay,
in there
listen.
and her cousin.
Okay, listen.
Sitting there laying on the bathroom
Listen.
goddamn
There
floor.
are 5 squad.
passed
Oh
out.
God. Okay, so
Oh my God.
none of them work here.
Walterman's a
Them work.
motherfucker.
She
I
was.
hope
okay.
he f***ing gets a shot in
She
his
and I were
goddamn
talking, but
mouth.
she came up to
You
me, talked to me,
mother-
'cause
Packers fan is the translator. Scream
Yeah.
guy is the whisperer, but he's not effective. She hates him
No.
too. Anyway.
I think she does. Yeah.
She
Anything else to add?
No, just that. So this is confusing, particularly for our audio listeners. But this is what's going on, and I'm not surprised at all if you can't tell what the hell's going on, because I've watched this 4 times today, and this is a classic example of your message being completely lost in the way that you're presenting it. She believes that she has something important to report, that someone who's underage, maybe in this bar, may be critically drunk, possibly intoxicated to the point of being unconscious, very vulnerable person, possibly an underage person. We don't know. She said 20, but we don't know how young. This person, who's this Lauren girl, who's behaving very rudely, she seems to be concerned about this girl, and she seems to believe that the bar's covering up. The police officers and paramedics have gone in to find her. She's not there. And they're saying, well, they're then they left out the back door, and the police officers like, well, then they did. Like, I don't necessarily know that a crime's taking place here. But the police officer, you'll realize as this video goes on, never understands that, like, that's the importance of the message because of the absolute shit show, the way that it's being presented to these guys. Drew, go ahead.
I do like, and let me jog your memory here. When they walked into the bar, when they finally bamboozled, and they finally head faked the owner, and they were able to get by her, she goes, yes, that girl called, and we've had problems with her, like kind of alluding that they're getting ready to cut her off. So this is I'm going to call the cops to fight my mistreatment in this bar, because I have something to hang my hat on, which is this girl, which I'm going to identify as 20 years old. I have no idea who she is. However, she is my cousin at some points, and other points.
She's a family member at some points and not at others. Not to the point that we can ever identify her. We can't say, well, that's Jennifer or something.
Right.
it's beside the point they me out of the crowd.
Be careful, because you're going to go to jail.
Yeah, you are.
Get me to go to jail.
So her cousin went in after 20 minutes to go see her.
So here's the thing. There's five squad guys and myself walked through every room inside that
and
restaurant.
No one's in there?
No.
Then they left out the side door, if anything, because they knew. And the only reason they left is because she already started screaming that she was going to call the cops, because she was afraid that she was too f***ed up to go home.
Well, here's the thing. She's in a bar.
So she wants to remove her. She does not want her to be removed from the alcohol because she's too intoxicated to go home. Think of that.
This is the best part, though. I don't want to miss this part here where this guy in the Packers hat is trying to explain the situation, that this woman's drunk in the bar, and what police action will take out of it. The cop's about to explain the legal ramifications of everything that's going on here. And if you're just a podcast listener, I'm sorry, you're missing out. You really should be watching us on YouTube.
Yeah, you should.
Hit like and subscribe. But I want you to just watch this guy, because he continues to just be a delight. And this is one of his crowning moments. So I just want to go back just a little bit and watch as he explains the crime to the police officer, and the officer explains the law to Packers fan.
Yeah, he breaks out the whiteboard for him. Here we go.
It's because she already started screaming that she was going to call the cops, because she was afraid that she was too f***ed up to go home.
Well, here's the thing. She's in a bar. It's not illegal for her to be drunk.
Exactly. I decided to just check the restroom just in case.
Okay.
And I opened the door, and her sister, who was in orange, who I'm pretty sure was out here to talk to you, was probably gone actually.
There's nobody in there except the employees.
Then they left because her cousin is in orange in like Bengals colors, right?
Well,
her cousin.
When you talk to your drunk
Bengals colors, guys. You don't know which bar this is yet?
friend tomorrow, you can explain to her there's nobody in here except employees.
So they were there. I promise you, she's right. They were in the bathroom together, and she was helping her to the toilet.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, I guess you got this. I'm gonna walk out. I walk out, and then I walk out here. Next thing you know, I see the cop cars coming. I'm like, who called the cops? And they're like, she did. And I was like, well, She's just puking in the toilet right now. At last I checked, and now they're gone because they knew she was going to call the cops, and I'm pretty sure.
But who cares if she calls the cops?
Well, they did. And all of a sudden, you guys are arriving, and
So the manager of the bar is upset that the police are being called. So it's possibly true that this person in the bathroom is underage or incapacitated or overserved or something. Something's wrong. We know that the bartender or the manager or whoever's running the place really doesn't want the cops to be here. But Drew's right. We are looking at some sort of game of vendetta, that Lauren's been overserved. They wanted to kick her out, but Lauren found this thing in the bathroom. And now Lauren is pretending to be a crusader for this poor innocent girl that's on the bathroom. Anything else, Drew?
Nope. She's her advocate. Abby,
I'm thinking, well,
correct. Abby is
Go
100%
ahead.
correct. This is the Varsity Sports Bar and Grill in Anderson County, Ohio, where they used to film One More and I'm Out of Here. I don't think that they film in there anymore. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But this is the exact place where we did the interview with Stu Scheller, and this is the exact place. Like, there's the back room that they're describing. There's a second bathroom. There's a men's room and a women's room, but there's also a back room, which is where we set up and did the podcast and stuff. And that's where One More and I'm Out of Here is shot, or was.
It's actually not closed. It's been reopened under a different name, just so Salamander's clear. So she mentioned that. But at one point, you're going to see an interesting cameo, someone who needs legal representation and someone who happens to be right there. No, I'm just kidding. Rob Herking will not appear in this video.
No.
He would file an injunction against me if he did, I'm sure.
well, if they ask me, the last time I saw her was in the bathroom with her cousin.
Okay.
Which is the truth. I promise you, on God, on my mother.
Personally, I could care less. All I care about
I
is
don't know
if
where they
nobody's
went.
dead.
No one's dead.
Okay.
She just got.
I don't care then.
She just got hell wasted.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Just don't walk down the street with that.
Oh, I'm drinking this year. Yes, sir. My bad.
And
I forgot I even had this in my hand.
What's
So Packers fan is still has a bottle of beer in his hand, and he's like walking away, and the cops, giving him a little bit of courtesy because he knows he's outside specifically to speak to the police officers. But he's about to just, Drew, what would the ordinance be for this? Because I don't ever go to bars, but it's like open container in public, something like that.
There's also like liquor laws that say here in Florida anyway, you can't be within 500 feet of an establishment that sells alcohol with an open container like that. Like, you can't stand out. It's kind of to prevent the open air drug markets. It's a way of enforcing that. So the people standing outside of the convenience stores drinking beer and stuff. But people do it all the time. I mean,
yeah, but the spirit of the law, obviously, maybe he's not violating it, but he just doesn't need one more thing. He wants to be able to. He's found no crime. He's found no one that he can even ask about a crime. There appears to be no victim here. There appears to just be complaints of something wrong, but ultimately this cop can't prove it. What we would call this is UTL 10-8, unable to locate, available for calls. There's not much he can do. The cop's saying over and over again, if that's what happened, I don't care.
She's not dead. Who cares?
Yeah, that's all they're there to do is just make sure she's okay. Sometimes, that's when police and paramedics are there trying to locate somebody. The law is important. They're there to enforce the law, but it's, the well-being of people is always going to be foremost on a well-being check like this. And if they can't find anyone, there's no one to treat. There's nothing you can do. And I know that a lot of times, like, citizens are not happy with that, but we do have the practical limitations in that if a key person in an investigation is not there and we have no way of locating them, there's not always something we could do. And when there's not really a compelling reason to find this person either, I don't know why we would look.
No, I wish he would have just looked at the cop and said, "Hey, pal, one more and I'm out of here." All right. Keep going.
her first name?
Man, hold on, let me think. She told me her name. I knew she told me her name. I was preoccupied by.
Oh well, that's fine. I don't care that much. So.
No, it seems important.
Oh well, whatever. I don't care.
Hey, honey, I'm sorry that your time was wasted.
So again, just for listeners, at one point he's like, what is this person's name, right? Because I just said if there's no compelling reason to find her and they have no intelligence to go off of on how to locate her, this cop is doing the due diligence. He's like, so this girl that's passed out, who's like, maybe been roofied or something, what's her name? And this guy's like, oh, she told me. but what the cop realizes is this guy's not going to disclose it because he doesn't want her to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So this guy that's cooperating is really not cooperating because now all of a sudden he has a brain fart, can't remember her name. And then the cop's just like, you're not going to tell me. So he's like, whatever, I don't care. Just kind of letting it go. But it's just hilarious because he's like, no, it seems important. The cop's just like, oh my gosh, just let me get out of here.
All right, keep going. We got a lot.
I feel bad.
The squad guy's time is wasted, not mine.
Why is she even?
So, I mean, you got 5, 6 squad guys here, but but whatever. All right, well, I'm out of here. Have a good one.
That's
the end of part 1. Are you guys ready for part 2? Because here's an interesting truth about police officers and what they often have to deal with. A situation like this, an intoxicated person like this, sometimes you just can't say goodnight. Sometimes it's just never over. As a 911 dispatcher, we do this a lot where someone is very, very intoxicated or very, very angry or agitated, or they've already engaged with the police, they're not happy with police service, and it's just not over. Even though if the police peaceably leave, no one's arrested, we've all kind of gone back to our corners and we can just call it a night. But no, we're going to be coming back out. So Lauren here, still not happy. She believes the police officers, for whatever reason, Lauren could just be happy to be cut off and go home and have a beer at home. But she's still mad. And now she's mad at the police because she feels like, or she's claiming to, that she's reported this crime and the police just aren't taking it seriously, which, sometimes citizens feel that way. They don't understand the limitations of what the law is or the investigative powers or the scope of police authority or the interest that this, that the government or the city, the state has in locating someone rather than just letting it be over. And so she goes off into the night to continue having a great time. And the 911 calls continue, but not only that, but even more disorderly conduct. So we're going to go on with part 2 if you're ready, Drew.
Yeah, please.
All right, let's do it. So this is 45 minutes later at a Speedway gas station not far away. They've been called to answer a 911 call taking place from there.
She's right here. Yeah?
Oh, thank God you're here, because I've been listening to her.
Okay, so they've just got into the Speedway station, and it's the Packers guy. Cop walks up behind him, taps him on the shoulder. He turns around. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. And this, I would just love to see the look on this cop's face. It's just like, tonight just won't quit. So, Drew, do you have anything before I just let this
going.
cheesehead continue to explain the problem?
Keep going.
Trying to get her
Where'd she
to
go?
calm down.
She just walked in.
She just went into the restaurant.
Second.
She's talking to some officer about how you guys mistreated her cousin.
I don't know what that means, but sure.
Apparently, you guys weren't listening to how her cousin felt about the situation. Even though her cousin was under the influence of many alcoholic drinks. I don't know how many, because I walked in there after I worked. Because I work at APG. I was just walking in there for a shot or two. She's freaking out about how someone drugged her sister or some shit. Now her sister's incoherent and you should give a shit about it because I care about her. I'm like, dude, that's okay. So that's your sister or your friend.
Well, what's funny was she didn't tell me any of that. She didn't tell me it was her sister, cousin, brother.
She's saying all sorts of shit, to be honest. I feel like she's just trying to get an excuse in to get away from
her boyfriend who's standing right there.
I'm giving him the thumbs up because honestly, he talked to me, but only
I'm
after
gonna end up
the
going to
fact.
jail here.
Oh, now we got all the cops.
Only
here.
after that.
Here's Walterman right here. Here's Walterman right here.
Okay.
Who are you? Missler. We got Walterman.
Get off the phone.
I'm not going to get off the phone.
Okay.
I'm not going
Guess
to get
what?
off the phone.
You got about 2
Hey,
seconds to hang
Clark.
up. You got
So
2 seconds.
Walterman is going to arrest me.
That's correct.
Right now. That's correct.
Come on.
Hold on. I
I'm
just walked out of the bathroom.
Come on.
Walterman is going.
Come on.
No, he's arresting me right now. Walterman is. Walterman is arresting me. Get off of me. I'm doing nothing. I just walked out of the bathroom. Kirk. Walterman is arresting me. Bitch, get off me. Get off me. I'm doing nothing to you.
All right. So she has apparently pushed or struck a police officer, knocking his body cam to the floor. She's had her phone in her hand next to her head the whole time. The police officers are telling her, like, get off the phone, stop annoying the dispatchers, stop tattling on us to our bosses. And they've got to go hands on. Drew, like, what crime's been committed? I know that the C-store clerk said that she's been disorderly. I don't know if anything's been broken, stolen, if she's refusing to leave, she's trespassing. But at this point, walk us through what's the reason for the police are choosing to physically engage, because it seems like they're committing themselves at this point, right? Like, if they don't touch her, they don't arrest her, can we de-escalate? Can we talk it down? Can we please, for the love of God, get Lauren to just get someone drive her home and have a good night? What's the reason why we're committing ourselves now to action by going hands on?
This was something that maybe you should have done at the bar. Like, in hindsight, that's where the supervisor is always going to question, like, why didn't we take care of this problem before? Because now we're generating more calls for service. But she's definitely in public and she's intoxicated. There is a charge for that, known as disorderly intoxication. There's another version of it here in Florida. It's called disorderly conduct, which is just basically you're engaged in behavior that offends people around you. You're interrupting their peace and quiet.
It's not a serious crime here. The bail on it is like $50.
And I think it's a misdemeanor, and I think it's pretty much designed to get somebody in jail. I really think
get them removed from the situation. Yeah.
Like when we went to Raymond James and we saw the holding cells, the first thing, I guarantee you're probably just going to get a trespass warning from Raymond James and get escorted out. Like, even if you get into a fight in there, if it's a full on, like, you cut a guy's ear and, you stuck him with a shiv, yeah, you're probably going to go to jail for that. But beyond that, if it's just a pushing and shoving match, you're probably going to go to down to those holding cells, get the trespass warning written so you can't come back for a year, and you're going to be escorted out of the stadium, and that's where it ends. If you're drunk and you persist like she is doing, and or you recognize, this is where your discretion comes in. You have full discretionary power to not make an arrest, just the same as you have a full discretionary power to make an arrest. This is a breach of the peace misdemeanor. You don't necessarily need to release them on their own recognizance. She goes to jail. It's done. Like, I'm tired of dealing with you. I'm tired of your mouth. Now you're calling 911 incessantly. Like, you've given 2 or 3 reasons to cool your jets a little bit in jail. Nothing's probably ever going to stick. An attorney's probably going to get it pled down to nothing.
Or a suspended imposition of sentence so that nothing actually happens. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's about it.
Where we are, I was mentioning this, but just to clarify, when we talk about disorderly conduct being a reason why someone goes to jail, where I live, we have a bond schedule, right? Like which crimes you have to, post a bond to get out of jail. It's usually, several hundreds of dollars or, thousands, as the case may be. Disorderly conduct here, and it varies by jurisdiction or by judicial circuit, but it's like weirdly like $50. This one's $50 for some reason, and it's because they literally will keep you if you can't post $50. If you have a DUI, they're going to go down, book you, and release you. But here, it's like you literally do have to you have to jump over even the smallest fence to actually get out. And so that's the reason why this disorderly conduct exists, is really just to help us extinguish the fire that's burning overnight, deal with it all tomorrow. And like Drew said, a lot of these times, these things that we just pled down, dismissed, because what's a state's attorney's interest so far in actually prosecuting her for just being an asshole? Lauren here has had too much to drink. She's being a jerk. The cops are here to referee that, as much as I'm sure they don't like it. And 911 dispatchers don't like taking these calls. Sillimander mentioned that one of the charges she could get is improper use of 911. I can tell you it won't be that one, because no state's attorney cares about the dispatchers. Her calling and making complaints is technically an improper use, but I doubt, again, that you're never going to take that one before a judge. Go ahead, Drew.
It's not that, because I've actually seen it charged and successfully prosecuted, but it's an extreme case, because it's kind of like, I was in this position as an intelligence detective. We had to kind of protect the courthouse from the crazies, or, protect the district offices from the crazies, we would have to do like an intelligence background on them and go interview them and talk to them and all that other stuff. So there's Supreme Court case law. I don't know what the current ruling is, but it's hard to trespass somebody from a courthouse because it is their courthouse. That's,
they have a right to access the court. Yeah.
I don't want to use the J6 term or whatever, but I mean, it's just kind of like you're so just the same is like when you call 911, even though it's for like, if there's any argument that could be made that in your mind you needed to call 911, there's no way that you're going to convince a jury of that. Now, the guy that we ended up, charging and whatever, we're talking about thousands of calls a month. Like he was spoofing and he was doing all these other things. And, they had to track him down with digital equipment and stuff like that, like an extreme case. And he actually got prison out of it because of the number of misdemeanors that he committed back to back to back to back. But, it's not necessarily that it's like a slight on the dispatchers. It's more on the, how is it going to sound when you convict somebody for calling 911?
It makes it seem like people shouldn't be calling, or there's a circumstance under which they might call and they could be punished, right?
Yep. It's more, that's
You did all the things.
Driver.
You did
Hands behind your back.
Put
your hands behind your back.
Get off me. Oh, I punched him in the face.
You punched him in the face and took him on the ground, dumbass.
Okay.
You did that.
Okay.
When you went to jail, you have your $2 at home. That's because you wanted to drink.
I got her. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is that her stuff?
Yeah.
I you could have got my car.
Thank
home. Now look what happened. Why would you do this? Why would you do this?
Put your hands behind your back.
Or she slipped out of it.
She slipped out.
He's saying, the boyfriend is saying, why would you do this? This didn't have to go this way. It didn't have to be this way, Lauren. And at one point, he actually calls her a dumbass, which makes me think the relationship might be on the rocks. But
notice though, he doesn't call her a dumbass until she's in handcuffs.
Yeah, and he mentions that that she has 2 kids that are being watched by grandma tonight. That she wanted to drink, she wanted to go out and party and all this, which just shows you how responsible is she for these kids. But she's a rascally one. She's just slipped her cuffs right outside of the speedway before she's even in the car. Drew, you have any good stories about having to wrangle anyone that was slippery in the cuffs?
Plenty, but it's more common than you think that women get out of the handcuff. Like you can't, even if you put it on the last ratchet, sometimes they can still, they're slight people.
They're very slight. They got delicate bones.
Yeah.
This is just making it worse for you. You understand?
Lauren, stop! Stop!
You're a creative face. Creative face. Creative face. Oh, there you go.
Stop!
You little f***ing
Stop!
Freddy Krueger mother. Freddy Krueger motherfucker. Freddy Krueger motherfucker.
Sir, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I'm sorry, dude. This is bullshit. Wait, I think my camera's on.
Mine is. It fell off. Let me grab her stuff.
Sorry.
How much? It's your fault. How much stuff did she break?
Put it on there. She didn't break anything as far as I see.
Where's her wallet?
On the back pocket.
We put it on your car.
Is that any of her property that was there?
Yeah, I said he put it on your car. Oh, here it is. I'm gonna go up to the district first.
Okay.
You Freddy Krueger mother ass. Did you ever give me my Miranda rights? Is your body cam going? When, Freddy? Freddy, when did you give me my Miranda rights? When, Freddy, did you give me my Miranda rights? Anything
I went to high school with Miranda rights, by the way.
I can will be probably guessing. When did you do that? Freddy, you already f***ed up. Freddy! You will all be hearing from my attorney.
Okay. Mr.
That's the end of it's the end of part 2. If you guys want to watch part 3 to see how it works out with her, because she's been successfully taken into custody. We do 911 to 1015 on this show, right? From 911 call till they're under arrest. She's been taken into custody. The case is closed, in other words. But now that she's kind of being detained almost in a correctional environment, she's just at the police station. But the show kind of pivots a little bit over to what it's like to be dealing with people in a drunk tank. And Drew, you were you were a detention deputy briefly or not at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
I knew that they forced you to take the terrible choice of being a detention deputy or
dispatcher.
Dispatcher.
Yeah.
And you chose dispatch. But if you guys want to see part 3, just because, to be honest with you, part 3 will never translate to a podcast that anyone will listen to. It's already been a rough go for anyone who's been listening to this episode so far. Thank you for hanging in here to the end. Yeah. I should have warned you at the beginning, like the following material you're about to hear is hurtful to ears, but,
yeah.
Then you wouldn't have listened at all, I guess. But so they got her into custody. Just kind of a funny case of her dialing 911, thinking she can dial 911, get out of it. And there's no 911. You don't hear the 911 audio on this, but I've taken 911 calls from people who are engaged with police right there. They'll dial 911. I'm like,
right.
And
what's taking it
the
so
cops
long?
What happens is that the cops arrive on scene, right? And they take control of the scene. And then I'm going to be honest with you guys. I normally stop caring. I don't have to worry about that anymore. The police take command of that. They're in charge of the scene. Now they'll ask me for things: run a driver's license, run a license plate, see if I can get contact information for a court service officer. What's the next court date, right? Like these are the typical things that I'll do. But sometimes I'll take a 911 and I start a new call for service because I assume it's something else. And all of a sudden it's located right. It zooms in on the map. There's like 3 police cars there. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because like the cops haven't said shit on the radio. And now I'll hear 911. Where's your emergency? Who do you call when you want to call the police on the police? I'm like, no one. That doesn't exist. I don't know why you think I'm gonna like send the FBI out to like, and you'll see this on YouTube too, where like FBI agent busts local cop or whatever. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. The FBI is not the super police where they come in and like, guess what? We're the big boys of town. There's no one to call. You don't like your police services. You know what you do? You comply. You get arrested. You go to jail, and then you get an attorney. Your attorney is the one that represents you against the police. There's no one that's going to come up and say, hey, like, hey, you've taken her into custody wrongfully, so I'm going to have to ask you to turn around and put your hands behind your back. I'm going to arrest you for arresting her. It doesn't work that way. And I've tried to explain this to these callers, and they'll be like, oh, I ain't paying my taxes. And I'm like, there's no chance you had tax liability anyway. Not only that, but like my salary comes from property taxes, and I know that you don't own any property here, so you're not paying you're not paying my wages when you say that. On the other hand, I've taken 911 calls from a woman looking out a window. She's dialing 911 because she sees her son's under arrest. She goes, they're arresting my baby. And I'm just like, all right. She's like, they're arresting him. I'm like, I understand. Thank you for that update, because the police officer hasn't told me that yet. So now I know slightly more. And she says, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, would you like me to send a police officer? Because they're already there. Talk to them. Like, you don't want them arrested. Like, they've already committed to the decision. They're not going to unarrest them, but go by all means, plead your case. Just don't do it with me on the phone. And it's, and then lastly, my last experience with this exact thing where someone's dialing 911, because they're already the back of a police car. They've already been arrested. They didn't get pat down real well, or the real pat down's still coming. And they're dialing 911 because they've been arrested. And for the life of me, Drew, what do they want me to do? I don't know what they're expecting 911 to do. This case is, as I was reviewing this all day today, it's just 911 is whatever the caller wants it to be. You can reschedule your medical appointments with 911. When you're scared that the police are arresting someone, that we will obviously send out some bigger law enforcement agency. It's just it's such a knee-jerk reaction that people just dial 911 and they expect it to be whatever it is. And it's just, you don't realize that I'm the one that sent those cops there. I approve of what they're doing. I don't approve of you, most likely. And so it's just really frustrating when a situation is chaotic, dynamic like that, and then you still have these Karens who are there dialing 911 because they think they're speaking to a manager or something. I guess maybe there's that old image that they think it's the desk sergeant answering, between coffee and donuts. What are my cops doing? No, it's me.
Yeah.
And I do, and I care even less than those cops do, to be honest with you, Drew.
Well, this was fun. we'll break down the rest of it at some other point. I don't know when.
I'll just do it on the after show. It's not something that's ever going to be a good podcast. So
it's not because she's just incessant. Like I do admire the counter.
Yeah, you guys will love that. We'll cover that. We'll cover that in a little bit.
It's just it's like it is ear spikes. I mean, it's just like someone's taking railroad spikes to your ears.
It's going to be tough. It's not going to be terribly fun. I mean, it's going to be entertaining as fuck. But if you guys are listening to the podcast on Spotify and iTunes, make sure you're leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. If you're on Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. That stuff really helps us. We really appreciate our members who are here live in the show tonight. But there's all kinds of things you could do to support us. Check us out on Instagram. You can find Drew on What Say Drew, or the show on I Stand Correct. Or we have a website. It's comcenter.com or something.
Thecomcenter.com.
Thecomcenter.com. Also, something we forgot to mention, Drew, is that we were doing some deep research about the history of the Com Center show, and we actually found out that we're a reboot. So perhaps in the next episode, we'll be covering, we'll just show some classic episodes of the old Com Center, the one that was from years ago before you and I ever got here.
Yes.
Just so that we could get sued. Just wanted to say thanks again to Abby, who's in the chats, Felony Melanie, Winter Carney, who's here, Will Cray, Consummate Communist here tonight. Amy's here in the chats. We hope you guys enjoyed this one. Was it our most thought-provoking conversation ever? Is Jim from Florida somewhere just changing the channel because he's like
holding his head in his hand, and slow tears rolling down his cheek.
Not every conversation has to be as complex and manifold as Hannah Payne. Some people just need to go to jail, and this Lauren, last name unknown, is a classic case of that. And and this is just you want to know what it's like for 911 dispatchers and cops? Yeah, we have amazing cases that shake the world, and they're moral quandaries, but a lot of the time it's just this baloney, and it takes up our night. And it degrades our will to serve the public. If I could say anything serious about it, is that I got into this job, and when you apply for it, they tell you, you're going to save lives. You're going to be a part of that. And they told Drew that too, like a complete sucker. But the truth is that you end up having to referee this, and you end up like fighting someone between the cigarettes and the candy bars at a speedway because they won't shut the fuck up.
The magazines, yeah.
In the magazines, yeah.
And then she calls on you.
Yeah, and then she calls 911 on you because you're, and I love how she just reads the name tapes. Like, these are the guys arrested because if the dispatchers don't know.
Silverman, Freddy Krueger.
It's Freddy Krueger, and I won't disclose the name of the nickname for Officer Johnson that's coming up. But if you want to watch the rest of it, we'll cover it on the after show because it's good for the algorithm and it's good for us, and it's a treat for the people that are fans of the show, but just show up on Thursday night. So we'll be covering that next. Thank you guys for watching the Com Center. We always appreciate you. There's no voicemail this week, but you can always call us 848-COM-911, 848-266-6911. I'm sending out postcards right now for everyone who left thoughtful voicemails. Here's my challenge to you. If somehow you heard this and you have a thought-provoking moral quandary question to ask us about drunk girl arrested by cops at gas station, something that like gives Drew pause and like has him just like, wondering what his career meant, something really deep, like send it. And we'll give you some kind of prize. Like Drew and I we just, I don't want to let anything slip, but I did get some merch made while I was there. Yeah. There might be some merch waiting somewhere out there in the wind. That if you send us a really, really good thought-provoking, and if you send it now, if Will Craig calls, it's just like, what does it even mean to be drunk? Aren't we all drunk when you think about it? Like, no, it's not going to count.
I was at El Loro yesterday. That's what Will Craig says.
Yeah, if you call and just tell us that you were at El Loro, that's not a deep one. But if you somehow find a good thing like that, we'll send you some wonderful swag. So it's a limited run. We didn't make a whole bunch of it. It's just slightly more than what we usually have. I did find out that there's someone, a power broker, a shadow person in the background who also wants us to start pushing out merch. She's a person that really neither one of us is allowed to say no to. If she really wants it to happen, it's going to happen. So merch may happen in limited quantities for our best communist fans. So do leave us a voicemail 848-COM-911. And with that, I'll get set up for the after show. Give me a few minutes, guys. Go to the bathroom, stretch your legs, grab a cigarette, grab a Twix, get completely blasted on Four Loko, and we'll see you back here in maybe 10 to 15ish minutes. And Drew, thanks again for hosting me in Florida. It was a wonderful time. Thanks for hanging out on this rather bizarre and thoughtless episode of Cobb Center, but that's what the job is. And Drew, I feel really bad for you. So here's to you, man, for all the times when you had to deal with that shit.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next week for more Comm Center. DeBrickashaw Ferguson. Ooh. I say that every single week. Who was that guy that we were watching during the Jets game? I can't remember his name.
What was that guy's name?